Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ukraine Salon. We're happy that you chose our group, our salon, to spend the next 20-something minutes. Today, we are going to have a discussion with you about a fascinating case of combining satellite data and crowdsourcing to address the problem of open burning. So to start with, I'll present the group who's discussing today with you. It's our team from Ukraine, from UNDP Ukraine Accelerator Lab, Ievgen, myself, Oksana, and Oleksiy. And also we have our partner, Serhiy Loboyko, head of Ukrainian think tank Center for Innovations Development. So as I said, we are going to present you and discuss with you the case of collective intelligence, particularly for real-time monitoring of the environment. And to start with, I want to take us all back to 2019, late autumn, when this journey started. Back then, Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine, found itself covered with smoke or mist. And there was a discussion in the society, where is it coming from? Is it coming from pollution from cars? Is it coming from burning? And so on. So with that task in our hearts, we went into exploring the topic. And we found actually that every spring and every autumn, a fascinating thing happens. In Ukraine, people are starting to get rid of their gardening waste, agricultural fields are being burned to get rid of crop residue, peatlands are burning. It's all combination of all those complex factors. And one might think, so what's so wrong of burning something down? Who didn't burn anything in their lives? Fire is very innate to human nature. But every time people in Ukraine would burn something, and everywhere, this would happen. So every red dot here is a registered heat anomaly. And while official statistics register 50,000 fires annually, satellites register a lot more. And if you see this red line drawn here, you could, this is the border between Ukraine and neighboring countries. You could see that this problem is quite particular for Ukraine. So with this in mind, having satellite data available for us, we set out to explore. And we wanted to understand how come some of communities burn more, some of the communities burn less, why ones are successful and in containing this harmful practice, and where does it come from? And this resulted in a 4 months fascinating journey where we found out the cultural factors, the narratives, and we crowdsourced solutions and facilitated understanding and helped to develop local policies that would address the problem right at where it begins. And I think this is one of the important factors of collective intelligence. But I'd like to give the floor to our partner, Serhiy, who would walk us through the data part of collective intelligence and the Don't Burn Compost project that we've designed and implemented together. Serhiy, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Evgeny. Hello to everybody. The tools that we have sought out and developed for close to real-time monitoring of environment look simple for any regular web service user. They're based on the leading geoinformation technology and open satellite data from NASA. By openly exploring novel data sets and online education on how to use our tools, we have identified very big interest in cooperation from the side of local territorial communities. We expected about just 20-30 of them to join our piloting initiative. Instead of this, during just a few weeks after our presentation of the first tool, about 200 communities from all the regions of the country expressed officially their will to join Don't Burn initiative. By the way, our first step for communities for their engagement was to use the tool to register themselves at the map, which some additional their statistics, and you can see that step at the presentation. All the territory of Ukraine is structured per communities with average population of up to 50,000 citizens, and almost all the householders with agro gardens, business agro enterprises are based there. And instead of composting, they're practicing for centuries. seasonal burnings of agro waste, mainly during 3 months of spring and autumn. And on the basis of high interest that you can see, we started to build collective intelligence by crowdsourcing all. On the basis of building this collective intelligence for developing additional tools, geoanalytics, exchange of best practices to work out understanding of the reasons and working solutions for this bad environment practice, which, by the way, has reached its peak last year, causing a lot of forest fires and billion-dollar damages. Never happened in Ukraine before. Our tools helped all the actors to move towards data-driven decision-making. There were several impressive geoanalytical findings. For instance, satellites register much more fires than official statistics. The majority of the burnings in agrofields are repeating at the land plots of the same owners' house leaseholders from year to year. And the majority of forest fires are starting from the burned agrofields. By the way, important upside of such data-based initiative has returned in pushing local governments of communities to start prevention activities with the regular burners and accelerated self-organized anti-burning for composting information campaigns, which also self-involved eco-activists, media, and even the Ministry of Environment. What are the changes that we can observe? Please pay attention to the slide that you can see. We have analyzed and compared the satellite data for all the seasons, like spring, autumn, and for instance, in spring 2021, right now, compared to the lowest rate of burnings, which was admitted before during the spring 2019, you can see a twofold decrease of burnings. While if you consider the disastrous numbers of the spring 2020, which, as I have explained, were caused by increase of burnings in the agrofields and which caused an incredible peak of forest fires, you can see 8 times decrease. At this point, I would stop and turn the floor to you again to tell more on the conducted collective research.
Yeah, thank you, Serhiy. So as mentioned, we tried to address the open burning problem with a collective intelligence approach, which includes data. And Serhiy just masterfully presented the piece of the data, which for us was satellite data as the primary source for analysis. So, but we didn't only give people the data and show that's where you burn, that's the patterns, that's where it's repeating, that's and so on. We wanted to understand why people burn. So I'd like now to turn to a field report from our ethnographer Oleksiy, who went to this very spot. This is just a photograph from the satellite to check how the burned field looks like a few weeks after it has been burned.
Hello. We decided to test the accuracy of the satellite data, and I came here to check what actually happened in this piece of land that was highlighted on the number of satellites as the place of active burning a couple of weeks ago. And I can see that actually, despite this grassland being very beautiful and very green, I can see many ashes. And for instance, the bush like this, it is black and covered with ash. So there was a fire recently, but it's now covered with the help of the rain, and some time passed. It now looks quite green and quite suitable for cattle. Before I came here, I talked to the residents of the village nearby, and they confirmed that actually this is where people are burning grass, and it seems to be like it is here. This practice is happening for 2 reasons. One is the cattle, to get rid of the dry grass and replace it with new green grass that will grow here anyway, but the fire gets rid of the old one and the green stuff comes sooner. And the second reason is actually it is for aesthetic reasons. So because it's becoming so green and it's not being disturbed by the old grass, dry grass, it looks more beautiful, and people may do it for both reasons. We are happy to be part of this journey of learning why people burn organic matter in Ukraine. We deconstructed this complex issue. We looked at the behavioral patterns, and we looked at the satellite data. And now we are proud to see how this initiative has been taken off by the number of NGOs, by the local administration in Ukraine, and people come to the problem of open burning with a complex set of solutions. They address people who burn grass in a different way that they address the people who burn organic matter in their households. This gives us confidence that it will be a success in a few years. We also try to constantly highlight to our members of the participants of the Do Not Burn Compost Challenge that this issue is highly complex, and only a complex set of solutions may be successful at addressing it. Thank you for attention, and come to Ukraine one day to see this beautiful place.
So you just saw a field report from Oleksiy, and he only mentioned just a few cases of why people burn. Would you ever think that someone would want to burn dry field, dry grass, so it wouldn't hurt the face of a cow or of a person's cattle? This is one of the crazy and interesting insights we learned from our exploration. So we facilitated many discussions in digital space, and each of the stickers here that you see, it represents the reason why people burn and clusters of them. So, but we did not only, again, we gave we gave the data, we analyzed why people burn, going deeper and deeper to the reasons. But we also tried to promote a set of solutions. We actually mapped more than 50. But now I turn to Oksana to explain to us one of particular solutions that we are promoting. And colleagues, may I kindly ask to mute the participants, my fellow co-hosts, because we are hearing someone driving a car at the moment.
Hi, colleagues, and thank you very much, Ievgen, for explaining so well in details how we use collective intelligence to explore the complexity around the problem. I want to add that we use community not only to understand the complexity and the problem, but also to map possible solution. We, together with 200 communities in Ukraine, share what solution they're already using to stop open burning, such as bicycles, communities to run around the village and to see if there's burning going on, or innovative crazy solution how to use fallen leaf to create a new material. Many of them, economic, technical, maybe more policy oriented, as well as communicational ones. However, here I would like to share with one of them that we, together with 200 different communities, think that's the most feasible and effective in terms of environmental, economic and technical feasibility. That is Compost. Actually, this is Compost in action. That's my small balcony garden. I'm growing here oregano, here's zucchini and some tomato starting. And this is the result of compost from 1 year of my life here that I learned from the community. Of course, not everyone has a possibility, opportunity, technical skills, time to do compost in the balcony, or simply don't have a balcony or where to bring the compost. So that's why we created an interactive map where we allow the community to map, to put their composters in the map if they want people to bring their organic. Imagine, I have a garden, a community garden, and I need a fertilizer. And I need organic waste to have a fertilizer. And Ievgen, he has the organic, he has a lot of organic waste from home, but he usually doesn't know where to bring it. So now, looking at the map of the composter, he knows where to bring. He brings to my community garden, and I start growing a lot of tomato, herbs, and so on. And in the spring, his family with his 2 kids can just come and visit and play in the garden. That's one of the examples. I stop here and let's chat more on other solutions.
Yes, so we crowdsourced 337 previously unknown composters, and we have communities that are leaders that mapped so many composters they could find next, like with a few minutes of walk, places where they could actually bring and dispose of their organic waste. So this is still at the prototype phase, but it gives us a lot of hope that it is possible to build these connections between neurons in this collective brain. So I will be slowly wrapping up here. I want to remind you that we tried to create a collective intelligence to address the open burning here through using open satellite data. And you would be surprised how open the data is, and that there are more data available that one might think. Secondly, we approached the problem with no judgment. We wanted to ask people, why are they doing this? Understanding, being humble about their reasons, and not blaming them for doing harm. And that actually generated a lot of understanding with the community. And lastly, we also used crowdsourcing to understand the places and where people could compose, and also solutions, set of solutions that could be used to address the problem. It was enormously pleasant to see that how between the communities on our online calls, the connections would emerge, sharing of practice, and so on. And at the moment, our colleagues from Center of Innovations Development are working on the expanded dashboard for open burning, and there are interests from policymakers, from communities, to work closely with GIS solutions. At this moment, I'll stop sharing and would thank you for attention. I saw a couple of questions and one raised hand, but now I'd like to invite every one of you to raise hand, share reflections, share advice. What did you find interesting? What did you find surprising? Maybe piece of advice for us. So now the floor is yours. And there was, while you are raising your hands, there was a question about the detection algorithm for satellites. And I'd like to say that, yes, it was already, some of the solutions are already available. So you can actually go online and see where the heat anomalies are taking place. But what we did, we combined various data sets to give the patterns, to give them the understanding of patterns of open burning and places where it takes place, and types of agric field cover and types of land cover, and even in some cases where data facilitated for that, it was possible to identify the owners of the land if you have the person responsible for that on board. And yeah, who would like, if you have other questions, I would be happy to answer. Unfortunately, I don't see the, yeah, now I see this. I saw Khalid, your hand raised in my chat. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question. Yeah, Khalid, please. Yep, go ahead.
Ievgen, we have some questions in the chat. For instance, Igmar Weber is asking, either we build our own detection or make use of something like Global Forest Watch. Ingmar,
yeah, Serhiy, if you can answer that.
Yeah, I think that was already answered. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, great. But welcome for cooperation.
I see Anna raising her hand. Anna, feel free to unmute yourself.
Oh, hi everybody. Anna Prados from NASA Goddard and University of Maryland. So, yeah, this is great to see the full cycle, you know, which we don't always see. Those of us that provide the satellite data, we don't always see the full cycle to the solutions. I was curious if you have included, two questions, have you included any information or been able to on the amount of burning, the area that's been burned? And also, how do you communicate to people about how to find the tool, the sharing, the information that you're sharing? What's your communication strategy for people to be able to interact with you?
Serhiy, would you like to take it?
Yeah, I'll start. So just from the beginning, I want to say that all the tools are based on open data, and them by themselves, they are open for anybody. Second, we started from direct informing all the local communities, local governments, and also public informing by all possible channels, including central media, about our initiative and opportunity to use its tools. And as you have heard at my short talk, that we got unexpected outcome of interest to engage to start to be the part of our initiative. Right now, a lot of eco-activists, also the government, the Minister of Environment, are using this, and the government is already preparing to, with our help, to publish at their official website this instrument, which cover all the country, not only the active communities that engaged in the project, but all the territorial communities and data on them. So that's what we are doing already. But maybe Evgeny would like to add something.
Yeah, so if in short, we used at this moment, at this project, a very classical way for distributing the data. So we used our governmental partner to distribute the information about the solution and the prototype and the project through its channel, so through local authorities. And we also used our own communication media. And then you also ask about whether we analyze the burned areas. We did look into that. We have a dashboard, and our dashboard integrates the burned areas from also NASA, I think MODIS product. But the challenge for us was that we wanted to act now and here and now. And the FIRMS service of NASA provides near real-time information on the heat anomalies, while the information on burned areas comes with a 2 months delay or 6 weeks delay for us, and that we integrated it retrospectively, which was also very insightful for communities.
One more small add, that we also used not only open satellite data, we also used the open data from the government on land plots, so-called cadastre of lands, which helped us to match the places of these anomalies of the places of burnings and the plots and owners of these plots, land plots. And it helped very much local governments to understand who is repeating this practice from year to year, from season to season, and to start to think over about the policy regarding these community members and to make prevention activities. There are different possible instruments, and some of the results we already observed, positive results.
Thank you, Serhiy. I see a raised hand, Sarvash Hare, please.
Yes, hello, Sarvash from Mauritius. I just wanted to know, you're saying that you're always using this open source data from the satellites from NASA. I just wanted to know what's the scale? To what scale? I mean, to what scale could you get to? How much you could zoom in? If you get my point, to what scale you could get, or was it did you need any specific permission? Did you have to write to NASA to ask for permission to get more higher resolution images, more zoomed in, or was that the open source data? Is it
Yeah, I
to
think your
large scale
question is clear. So you are interested in granularity of the data that you could get from open access. So actually, FIRM's data provides, you can come and download for your interested area the historical data sets with geotagged points of heat anomalies. So precision is I wouldn't be able to comment like very directly, but that's within tens of meters or up to 100 and something meters. There are other solutions and other open satellite data that provides the pixel granularity of up to 1 kilometer or up to 500 meters. And of course, it's not, it might be challenging to use it for certain solutions. For our case, to analyze the patterns of open burning, to have the the biggest value is near real time availability of that data. I see there are more. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I also wanted to know the data you collected was about the heat, and how were you sure? To what extent were you sure that it was generated from fires? It could be something else or industries, or you had to sift through the data, I guess.
Yeah.
You had to go on location and find it.
Yes. We have a special algorithm for differentiating industrial heating anomalies from anomalies at environment territories. In agrofields, forests, etc.
Yeah, thank you. Great job, guys.
And good suggestion also from Igmar Weber on another potential source of open satellite data. It's from Sentinel. We tested it. It can be also a good source.
I can see some questions in the chat. If you want, I can take them.
Yeah, yes, please.
So I see that Muzaffar is asking how your data sources are distributed, what share of data came from the satellites, and what share came from the citizen science generated or other source. So what you have seen in the presentation, all the GIS and maps that actually come mostly from the satellite. What kind of information we receive from the citizens is understanding of why the practice of burning happening, and also what solution they're applying. So we kind of combine what is the reason of burning and understand what are the solutions. The only thing that we also map with the citizens is the map of the composter, which is a solution map. Otherwise, everything else was GIS based. And the knowledge, the communication, the discussion was around those maps that we get from the satellites. Thank you. I think there's more, no?
Yep. There is another one. Are the communities and individuals easily able to access dashboard and other information? Do they have computers and internet to access to same? So we targeted, mostly Ukraine has wide coverage of internet, and of course our main target audience here was the decision makers at local level, people who influenced stakeholders around and local environmental policies, and those have with no problem access to the solutions. We've shared it widely, and actually we did not just send them a link. We have developed a set of trainings which we keep online and where we explain, where the experts from Center of Innovations Development explain how to use the analysis, how to devise conclusions from what is seen on the dashboards.
Mm-hmm.
There is another question about resistance from community members. Oleksiy, maybe you want to touch a bit on the community members' resistance to the overall open burning and that human side of it?
Well, it's not the human side, but it's we talked to the participants of the Do Not Burn Compost Challenge were active members of the communities, which were very motivated to do something. So we didn't actually engage with those who resist. We did engage with them when we were doing the research on the causes. And then we talked to the people who do burning, who are actually farmers who benefit from burning. But the members of the Do Not Burn Compost Challenge, they are actually those who need tools to convince the people who resist. So it was we kind of empowered them with solutions, with tools. We facilitated this exchange of solutions. And we showed that actually, since UNDP is in this topic and we are in this topic, it is important, and they felt also more confident when approaching these burners.
Can you give a bit more set about the part when we talked about the those who burn and their motivations, maybe on the farmers and so on?
Yeah, we found that actually there are more than 30 reasons why people burn, and they mostly come from emotional reasons and also very practical. So people do solve problems with the help of fire, but at the same time the fire is deeply connected into the culture. So it's kind of it reinforces each other, and each case of burning is actually caused by multiple motivation factors.
Thank you, Oleksiy, and colleagues. I see that we are going to be beamed up back to the plenary. I thank you all for active engagement, and I'm sorry if we couldn't answer all the questions in this salon. Feel free to engage at our social media sources. Write to me in the chat, and
please
let's have a
write to us if you have other questions. We're gonna write our email here.
Yes, please write to us, and we will answer everything.
And thank you for joining.